and welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video tutorial we are going to learn how to crochet step by step this beautiful Daphne clutch bag. This is a very easy project. You can literally make it in only one day, and it's very easy, only single crochet from the beginning to the end. Now let's see the material that we're going to use and how to start. What I want to mention before we go ahead and see the material is the measurements of the bag, which is about 32 centimeters wide, and the height is about 20 to 21 centimeters. So let's see the materials and how to start. Now let's see one by one the material that we're going to use, and I'm going to need two skeins of cord, which of course because they are in this way made, we're going to need to make them into balls in order to be able to crochet. The chains that we're going to need, okay, this one just in case we want to turn the clutch bag into a shoulder bag, and then the two smaller chains in which we are going to crochet on these two chains. We're going to attach them together and then sew it on the clutch bag. My magnetic button, okay, the inner lining, which is made of PVC, and it's very nice and lasts long on your projects. And the crochet hooks that we're going to use is a 4mm crochet hook and a 5mm crochet hook. Okay, so now let's see step by step how to create our clutch bag. Now let's start, and I'm starting with my 5mm crochet hook, and I have made a total of 16 chains. Now for this clutch bag we're starting to crochet from the lid, and we're going to be working increases in every second row, and the design is going to seem as a trapezoid. And then once we finish crocheting the lid, we're going to work one single crochet in every stitch up until we complete the project, where when we start working one single crochet in every stitch for the rest of the rows, it's going to be the rest of the body of our clutch bag. Okay, so I have started with a total of 16 chains, and I'm going to start crocheting from the second chain from the hook, this one right over here, and I'm going to work one single crochet, and I'm going to work one single crochet in each chain across for a total of 15 single crochet. So one, next chain, two, next one, three, next one, four, five, and keep crocheting up until the end right over here for a total of 15 single crochet. I have completed row 1 with a total of 15 single crochet. Now we're going to start row 2, and from here on in every second row we're going to be working increases. I'm going to be working 2 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 single crochet in the last one. Okay, so chain 1 and turn your work. So starting from the first stitch right here, in the first stitch I'm going to work 2 single crochet in the same stitch. One, same stitch, 2. Now because I'm going to work an increase in the first and in the last stitch, in between I'm going to have a total of 13 single crochet. Okay, so starting from the next stitch, 1, next stitch, 2, 3, and keep crocheting up until the stitch before the end for a total of 13 single crochet. And I'm going to turn my video back on to work the increase in the last stitch of the row. I have worked my 13 single crochet. Now in the last stitch of the row right in here, I'm going to work 2 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, same stitch, 2. So what we have done by working the increases, I have added 2 extra stitches in this row. So from the 15 single crochet that I had in row 1, in row 2 I have 17 single crochet. Now, in every row after the row of increases, in order to give a nice shape on our project, we're going to be working a row of 1 single crochet in every stitch across. So chain 1, turn your work, and in row 3, starting from the first stitch, I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch across for a total of 17 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, next one, 3, and keep working 1 single crochet in every stitch up until the last stitch of the row for a total of 17 stitches. I have completed row 3 with a total of 17 single crochet. Now, see how it has started to open up? This is how our lid is going to be. Now, row 4 and row 5 are going to be the last rows that we're going to see on video, because up until we complete crocheting the increases, the steps are going to be the same. In one row, we're going to be working increases. In the next row, 1 stitch in every stitch. 1 row of increases, 1 row with 1 stitch in every stitch. What I want you to remember, and this means that we will be needing to count in every stitch to know the number of stitches. In this row, I have a total of 17 single crochet. So every time we work a row of increases, we are adding 2 extra stitches on our project. So in this row, we have 17 stitches. In the first and last stitch, I'm going to work my increase. So this means that in the center, I'm going to have 15 single crochet. In the next row of increases, I'm going to have a total of 19 stitches. So this means that in the first and last stitch, I'm going to work the increase, and in the center, I'm going to have 17 stitches, and so on, okay? So let's start row 4, which is going to be a row of increases. Okay, and starting from the first stitch, I'm going to work 2 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, same stitch, 2. Now, starting from the next stitch, I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch across for a total of 15 stitches. 1, next stitch, 2, and keep crocheting up until the second before the last stitch, where I'm going to have 15 stitches. I'm going to turn my video back on to work the last stitch for the increase together. I have worked my 15 stitches in the center, and now in the last stitch of the row, I'm going to work my increase 2 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, same stitch, 2. Now we're going to start row number 5, chain 1 and turn your work. And in row 5, I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch across for a total of 19 stitches. Starting from the first one, 1, next stitch, 2, and keep crocheting up until the end for a total of 19 single crochet. I have completed crocheting row 5 with a total of 19 single crochet, and look how nice our work has started to open up because we're working the increases. So from here on, we're going to work off camera up until row 21. Okay, so now let's see how our next rows are going to look like. In row 6, we're going to work now increases, and we're going to have a total of 21 stitches. Same in row 7, where we're going to work 1 stitch in every stitch. Row 8 is going to be a row of increases, so we're going to have a total of 23 stitches. Same in row 9. In row 10, we're going to work the row of increases, so we're going to have a total of 25 stitches. So row 11 is going to be of 25 stitches as well. Row 12, we're going to work our increases for a total of 27 stitches. So row 13 will be of 27 stitches as well. Row 14 is a row of increases, so we're going to have a total of 29 stitches. So it's going to be row 15 of 29 stitches as well. Okay. Row 16 is going to be a row of increases, so we're going to have a total of 31 stitches. So will be row 17, sorry, is going to be of 31 stitches as well. Row 18 is going to be a row of increases, so we're going to have a total of 33 stitches. So in row 19 we're going to have 33 stitches as well. Row 20 is going to be your last row of increases, and we're going to have a total of 35 stitches. In row 21, row 21, we're going to have a total of 35 stitches as well. So once I finish row 21 with a total of 35 stitches, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue with our clutch bag. Okay. So this is how it looks like at this point. We're working increases in every second row. Once I reach row 21, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed crocheting up to row 21. I have a total of 35 stitches, and look how nice our project looks like at this point. And as we said in the beginning, this is the lid of the clutch bag. Okay. And we have reached up to row 21. Now from row 22 to 68, we are going to work off camera because we're going to be working one single crochet in every stitch across. So for the rest of the rows, I am always going to be having a total of 35 stitches, no more increases. Okay, so from row 22 to 68, one stitch in every stitch across for a total of 35 stitches. And now a little tip on how to count your rows, just in case you get messed up. Okay, every 2 rows of single crochet form a stripe, so they're easier to count. So the first row is by itself, as I see, does not make a stripe with any other row, but when I turn on the other side, it makes a stripe with row 2. So it has to do on which row you're looking at your project. Okay, so the first row is by itself, so I'm going to count it in the end. So see how here I have 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 rows. And the first row right here, a total of 21 rows on my project. So I'm going to keep working now off camera from rows 22 to 68 for a total of 35 stitches in each row. And once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed crocheting my 68 rows. This is how it looks from the bottom where we started to the top. Okay, this is how it looks on the side when I turn it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the 4mm crochet hook, and we're going to crochet all around to make a frame. We're going to crochet single crochet all around, and this will give a nice finishing touch on the edges, just so the changing of the rows is not visible. Also, it makes it easier when you want to join, because you can see easier where the stitches are. So let's see how we're going to do that. Now that we have completed crocheting our 68 rows and we switched to a 4mm crochet hook, we're going to crochet all around our bag. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to start with a chain 1 and turn your work clockwise, not on the other side to work on the other direction as we were doing so far. Just turn your work clockwise. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to work one single crochet in the first stitch of every row. This means that we have a total of 68 rows, so I'm going to have 68 stitches going downwards. And it's easy when we're crocheting with single crochet, because everywhere that you see a hole is where you need to put your crochet hook into to work your stitch. So starting from the first one, then here, 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 here. So everywhere that you see a hole is the first stitch of every row. Starting from the first stitch, work your first single crochet. Okay, now in the next stitch right over here, 2, next row, 3, next row, 4, next row, 5, and keep crocheting up until you have 68 stitches. See how nice a straight edge that it gives us when we crochet all around? So keep working one single crochet up until you reach the end down here for a total of 68 stitches. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to continue. I have completed working my 68 stitches, and look what a nice edging that it gives on our bag. Okay, now right here I have worked my 68 stitches. Now I can turn your work clockwise, and now we're going to work on the beginning chains that we worked to start our project. Okay, and we have a total of 15 chains down here, and on the corner one, because this is my corner stitch, I'm going to work one single crochet, chain 1, and one more single crochet in the same stitch. Okay, and this gives a nice corner on our work. Now I'm going to work one single crochet in every one of the chains. So I'm going to work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 single crochet. And on the last one right over here, I'm going to work again the corner, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, but I'm going to turn my video back on to work it together and see how to start going upwards. I have worked my 13 single crochet, and what I'm going to do now is right here in the corner, I'm going to work in the corner stitch over here, I'm going to work one single crochet, chain 1, and one more single crochet in the same stitch. And by doing this, it gives me nice corners, because this right here is the lid for my bag. This gives me nice corners, okay, every time that we work in the edges, in the corners of our project. Now what I want to do is I want to work again one single crochet in the first stitch of every row going upwards, again for a total of 68 stitches. So again, everywhere that we see a hole is where we want to put our crochet hook into. So here, 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 here. These are the first stitches of every row that I want to crochet into. So starting from the first row, right over here, work your first single crochet. Okay, 1. Next row, 2, next one, 3, next one, 4, and keep crocheting up until the end right over here, where again we're going to have a total of 68 stitches. I have worked my 68 stitches going upwards, and this is how my work looks like. Now, because the last stitch, the 68th, has fallen in the last stitch of the row, what I want to do to create a nice corner on here again, I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the other two corners. I'm going to do chain 1 and one more single crochet in the same stitch. If I do not do that and go right ahead and start crocheting from the next stitch, my work is going to shrink and it's not going to look nice. So right here in the same stitch that you work the last single crochet, chain 1. Okay, let me turn my work clockwise so it's easier for me to crochet, and work one more single crochet in the same stitch. Okay, so we have given it a nice corner over here as well. Now we have reached the top part. This is the last row of single crochet that we worked, so this is going to be easy to crochet. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I'm going to work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Once I reach my 33rd stitch, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to close the row together. I have worked my 33 stitches. Okay, now put your hook in the next stitch to work the 34th. And because I want to create a corner over here as well, I am going to chain 1 and slip stitch in the first single crochet that I worked when I started to go downwards. So work your slip stitch, cut the rope, okay, and what I always do is I always cut extra rope than for the end, just in case I pull something wrong and the cord starts to frog itself, okay, and I'm going to destroy my project. And what I mean is this. So I have worked my slip stitch, chain 1, cut the rope, and fasten off. Okay, this is what I mean. If you pull it wrong, it'll start frogging itself. Look at this. Okay, and this is the reason why every time that you work with cords, or ropes, polyester ropes or polypropylene that are for bags, you always want to burn the ends to secure them. Okay, so we have completed crocheting all around to work the frame. Okay, and now let's go ahead and see the steps that we're going to work off camera in order to complete our clutch bag. Okay, so now that we have completed crocheting our whole piece, okay, I'm going to show the steps that we need to work off camera. So the side that we worked our single crochet, it's the good side of our project. This means that it's going to be on the outside of our work, okay? So what I'm going to do is this is the inside, this is the wrong side. Of course, you're going to weave in all of your ends in the end, okay? Or you can do it now before you continue. What I want you to do is to fold your clutch bag up until over here where we have stopped working the increases for the lid, okay? So we want to go approximately, you don't have to count your stitches to be exact, okay, and attach a stitch marker here along with the stitch that you want on the other side over here for the lid, okay, from the lid. So this is where okay, so about here, this is the body of my bag, and this right here is the lid that's going to close up. Okay, so this right here seems to be the stage where I completed working the increases. So about a stitch or two below, I want to join my bag. Okay, so put a few more stitch markers just to make sure that you have straightened out perfectly your stitches, okay? Now go across onto the other side. The only thing that I want you to do is, of course, like I said here, we want it to be approximately, but just make sure that you're in the exact row that you joined this side over here. Okay, so make sure you're going to join on the same exact, you're going to finish joining on the same exact stitch, because if you do not, your clutch bag is going to be crooked. And attach again here a stitch marker just so you know where to stop stitching. Okay, so we are going to join the two sides, And this right here is going to be our clutch bag, okay? So once you join the sides, okay, once you sew them, it's going to straighten out perfectly. Now, all the steps that we're going to do now is we're going to work them off camera, but I'm going to explain how to do them thoroughly. Now, in order to join the sides of our clutch bag, I want you to take with the same yarn, the same cord that you were crocheting your clutch bag, and I want you to sew the outer right here, the outer loops, the inner loops of each stitch, okay? The two loops that are joining together. See here how those two loops are the loops that are attaching each other. So this is where I want you to join your clutch bag. So here, now the next two stitches here, next two stitches, join them together, okay? And keep stitching, keep sewing up until you reach the last stitch up here where you have attached your stitch marker. Once you finish, weave in all of your ends on the inside of the clutch bag. Always make sure that you burn your ends, and then turn on the other side, okay? And start sewing again the loops that are attaching each other from the two sides. So start stitching here, next two loops, the next two loops, the next two loops, okay? Up until again you reach the last two single crochet that you're going to join together. Now, once we join and weave in all of our ends, close your clutch, okay, and with your measuring tape, you're going to measure the lid, which is 13 centimeters. So right here in the center, in the 7th centimeter, we are going to join, we're going to sew our magnetic button, okay? And you want to sew the magnetic button with thread and a thinner needle, you know, needle and thread. And you want to put this part, the male, on the top and sew it on the four corners, and then the female part, when you close the clutch, hold it down and open it up, and it will align with the bottom part. The best thing you can do is, again, you can measure with your measuring tape and center the button. Once you sew on the four corners the button over here as well, the next step that we're going to do off camera is to start crocheting on the lining. Okay, so bring up your lining right over here. Take your 4mm crochet hook. Take your 4mm crochet hook, and we want to crochet on the one side of the holes and then on the other side of the holes, okay? So attach the yarn in the first hole, and work a chain to join, and in the same hole of the lining work one single crochet. Now what we want to do up until the end of this side, I'm going to be working 2 single crochet in one hole, 1 in the next one, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, up until the end. So in the next hole, I'm going to work 2 single crochet. 1, same hole, 2. In the next hole, I'm going to work 1 single crochet. And this is how it will look like. So keep crocheting up until the end, and once you work in the last hole, chain 1, cut the yarn fast enough, and weave in the end on the back side on the loops of the single crochet. And I want to weave in the back over here because this is the wrong side of the lining. Okay, so this is where I want to weave in the ends. Then once you do that, turn on to the other side, attach the yarn again up here, and crochet the whole side of the lining again over here. Once you finish crocheting both of the sides, then go ahead and we're going to crochet on our chains over here. On both chains, I want to crochet only on the one side. I'm going to crochet 2 single crochet in every single one of the links on the one side, 2 single crochet in each of the links on the one side of the other chain as well. So put your 4mm crochet hook in the first link, attach your cord, just make sure that you're crocheting on the same side of the links. Okay, take the yarn, pull it through the link, chain 1, and now work 2 single crochet in the same link. Okay, 1 in the same link, 2, now go ahead into the next link, right over here. Put your hook in the next link and again work 2 single crochet. Just let me take the tail out of here. Okay, in the next link, and again work 2 single crochet. One, same link, 2. Once you work in the first 2-3 links, it's going to be easier to crochet. Next link, again 2 single crochet, 1, same link, 2. And this is how it looks at this point. Okay, we have crocheted in the first 3 links, so keep crocheting up until the end. Once you finish, chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off and weave in your ends on the loops of the single crochet. And once you finish the first chain, work the same exact steps on the other chain as well. So once I finish all the steps that I just mentioned, I'm going to turn my video back on and see how to join all those together to finish our clutch bag. Okay, so I have completed crocheting the PVC lining and on my chains. Now let's say that everything is sewn together as it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go ahead and finish it all to show you all the steps as I'm supposed to because I have so many projects to complete. So let's say that the sides are sewn, okay, and we have completed crocheting on our PVC lining. Look how nice it looks. Now what I did, and I want you to be careful, see how I mentioned that we need to do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1, 2. Well, here in the end I worked 2 single crochet in each of the last 2 holes, and to look nice, but also to cover the space over here in order to sew it on my clutch bag. And make sure that you leave a long tail so we can sew it on the clutch bag. Same exact thing on the other side as well. I worked 2 single crochet in each of the last 2 stitches and I left a long tail to sew it on our bag. Now, since you have the sides sewn together, okay, we need the sides to be sewn in order to attach the lining. Fold it in half and place it in your clutch bag. Okay, just let me close again the stitch marker. And what I want you to do, and now we're going to take each of our ends and we're going to sew it on the bag. Okay, take the one end and I want you to sew each stitch from the lining to the stitch that it aligns on the bag, okay? And this is how I want you to work the needle, from the inside out, out, in, out, outer, inner, okay? And I want you to sew every single one of the stitches of the lining to the stitches that they are aligned on the bag. You don't have to go in each stitch on the bag. This is why I mentioned to the ones that they align, okay? And once you sew the one side, weave in the ends and go ahead onto the other side, and again you want to sew each stitch of the lining on the stitch that it aligns from the bag and go from inner to the outside, from the outside to the inside, inside, outside, outside, inside, and you want to sew every stitch of the lining, okay? Now once you have finished sewing the lining and you have weaved in all of your ends, now it's time to sew the two chains together. Now I want you to make sure that you're looking the good side of your stitches, okay? And also make sure that in one of the chains that you leave a very long tail to sew the two pieces together. I forgot to do that and I'm just adding an extra work to myself to weave in more ends. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to weave those two ends and attach new yarn to start sewing. So in order to sew the two chains together, what I want you to do is we have the same exact stitches on both links. I want you to take the first stitch on the first chain with the first stitch on the opposite chain, and we want to sew together the outer loops, the ones that I see, the outer loop from the one stitch to the outer loop of the other stitch, and sew them together, okay? Now, from the top to the bottom, go into the second stitch on the one side to the second stitch on the other side, then third stitch on the one side, third stitch on the opposite side, and we want to join the two chains together. Okay, go ahead and sew up until the end, sewing the outer loops of the single crochet, and we want to sew the same stitch on the one side to the same stitch of the other side. Once you have completed doing that, I want you to place the chains on your bag, and I want you to measure 5 centimeters, which is about 2 inches. I want you to measure 5 centimeters, so right over here, and we are going to attach the chains starting from the 5th centimeter, and we want to join them on the side loops over here where you joined your bag. On the same stitches, sew the links on the one side and then sew on the other side. Here you will see that the links are a little bigger than the bag. This is not wrong, because you're going to sew on the side over here, on the side stitches, and once you do that, the chains are gonna get a shape, okay? It's gonna curve downwards, and it'll give a nice shape on our clutch bag. So go ahead and sew the inner lining, sew the two chains together up until the end, and then sew them on the side starting from the 5th centimeter or 2 inches, okay? And once I finish joining everything and finish weaving in all of my ends, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how our beautiful Daphne clutch bag looks completed. I have completed joining everything together, and this is how our beautiful clutch bag looks like. In the front, in the back, on the sides. See how nice the joining looks? Okay, now what I want to mention is that I do not want you to follow the steps that I mentioned before I turn the video off on how to sew the items on the bag. For every single thing that I sewed on the bag, the sides, okay, the side part, the chains, okay, and the lining on the inside, what I did is I was taking the rope and I was going from the back to the front, again from the back to the front, next stitch, from the back to the front, next stitch, from the back to the front. Before I turned the video off, I said from the back to the front, from the front to the back, from the back to the front, from the front to the back. But the end result on that stitching wasn't really nice, and this is how it looks by joining the way that I just mentioned. This is the inner lining, and look how nice it looks. Okay, from joining on the way that I just explained. Okay, the sides, see here that I have joined on the spare loops that I have on the end of the chains over here. I sewed them on the stitches, on the loops of the stitches of the single crochet, and then I brought the yarn on the inside and I weaved it in. Same thing on the other side as well. Okay, and this is how it looks completed. Now the last thing that I would like to show is how to attach the chain if you would like to make it into a shoulder bag, which is very, very easy because we have those quick release links right over here. Okay, the only thing that you can do, that you are going to need to do, is right here on the side. Just take the link, okay, just take it through here, and one side is ready. Let's do the other side as well. And here we go. And we just made our clutch bag into a shoulder bag. Okay, here we go. So this is how our clutch bag looks completed. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. Thanks again. Bye bye.